Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the M53 M55, the Tier 9 American SPG. This one's located on the northeast spawn of Live Oaks and it's under the command of ProvoBob. And we're about to see 3 replays featuring ProvoBob and this Arty. Well, it's got a 8-inch howitzer which identifies this vehicle as the M55 because the M53 carried a 155mm gun. And well, they can lob that 8-inch shell out to 10.51 miles, or the real one could, at 16.92 kilometers. Now it's based on the pattern tank, the M47. They literally took the hulls that were being built into pattern tanks off the production line and diverted them so they could be converted into the M53 or the M55, depending on which gun they were fitting, or howitzer you might say. Oh dear, we have a troll. I don't think that was deliberate actually, I think he just wasn't watching where he was going. Okay, ProvoBob's ready to go. Now, as many of you know, ProvoBob is an Aussie, and that means that he's on the Australian and New Zealand server. And it does happen sometimes on that server you get bots because there's not enough players at certain times of the day, but at top tiers you do tend to get a lot of live players. His first round goes out but misses the STB1 altogether, wasn't fully dialed in, bit of a snap. This is a tier 10 game with tier 9 tanks in it. He's chosen an unusual position just north of the embankment, or just north of the road that leaves from the railway station. He's getting ready to shoot again. Don't have a reading of how long his reload time is. Right, he's got one about 32 seconds. Oh, good hit on the STB1. He was taken out immediately afterwards. The actual book reload is 40.27 seconds. It's actually quite long, but with a rammer and a good crew you can drop it. He's got it down to 32. You can get it even lower because this Arty does carry vents, which is one of the few that is an enclosed cabin. And in fact, rather unusually, the driver is in the same cabin next to the howitzer. Okay, rounds out in the ST1 there. Oh, he got both of them there. He hit the ST1, but he splashed the IS-3 too, just ahead of him. You can see the round appear to land right on the front plate of that ST1. Now, this vehicle did see service in Vietnam. It was air transportable. They could actually stick it in the cargo hold of a Galaxy and shift it all the way across the Pacific to Vietnam. Rounds out in the Jag Tiger. Direct hit on his rear for 481. Now, the alpha damage of the shell is 1050, and that's if it penetrates 52mm of armour. Of course, that last shot was probably a non-penetrating round, but it hit the weak spot, which is, of course, the engine deck. If you can get it onto the engine deck, yes, you can get big damage. Now, a little known fact is that the M53 M55 is one of the few Artys in the game that actually has gun depression. Yep, you can actually shoot over ridge lines with it. It's very, very, very low gun depression. It's only 5 degrees. But it's surprising for an Arty to have gun depression, and the reason for that is that big tank deck and where the actual howitzer is mounted. The vehicle is a pattern tank in reverse because the rear of the vehicle is actually at the front now. The rear of the pattern tank is facing the front end of the M53 M55. And the howitzer was high enough up so it could drop down. So if necessary, if you were in a shooting position and you had to shotgun an enemy, you could actually use gun depression against them, which is kind of annoying for the enemy because you're getting a really big hit on them in shotgun. Got 2 tanks there. Can he get both? Rounds out. Oh, penetrating round into the IS-3 and the fire extinguisher went off. 1,099 hit points. He hit the engine deck and he got a 53 hit point fire afterwards, but the premium fire extinguisher went off and put the fire out. Otherwise, he would have been a goner. Unfortunately, we lost our own IS-32 there. Nice double hit again. The chieftain, Nick Moran, actually did a video on the M53, M55. If you haven't caught that yet, it's worth a look because he actually goes over one that's being held in a, I don't know if it's a scrapyard or if it's a antique dealer's collector's yard, but it's pretty amazing. He actually goes over an M53, which is the US Marine version. They only wanted the 155mm gun on their Arty. Oh, that was a direct hit. He definitely hit that strip 103B because there was no explosion. And remember, there's only 30mm on some places. Is it 30mm or 40mm? I think it's 30 on the strip 103B. So he might have got a penetrating shot on that guy. Well, he's decided to relocate to the city. I think that's mainly to avoid any possibility of counter battery, but he might also be able to get a better angle on some of the enemy tanks down this side. And the enemy Arty's come to sight. They've only got one. We're dialing in. Going to get rid of him because we know how powerful Arty's can be. And there we go. Easy kill there. It's not just professional courtesy that we actually get rid of the enemy Arty. It's mostly down to the fact that we know how powerful Artys can be. We also know that they're stationary targets and they're easier to hit than tanks. They don't tend to move about while they're shooting. So yes, we try to get rid of them as quickly as we can to avoid them doing the same to us. Okay, he's going after the ST1 who just took a big hit. Rounds out. Oh, it fell short, but the ST1 was killed and after he was splashed. So there's a bit of stun assist off that one. Surprisingly, the M55 couldn't carry that many rounds. There was only room for 10 rounds inside the cabin of the M55. And if you look at the size of the 203mm howitzer rounds, you'll realise why. Yeah, they are pretty big. In fact, in order to fit the 203mm rounds, they needed new racks on the vehicle. If they actually converted an M53 to an M55, and they were basically the same vehicle, just a different gun mount, they'd actually have to change all the racks as well to ensure that they could carry the ammunition. Okay, looking for that strip 103B. Trying to encourage him to come out of the swamp. He's the last one on the enemy team. We are capping at the moment. The ST1's in the cap, but I don't think that's really necessary. There's enough tanks to kill him. And of course, you do get a bonus if you kill all of the enemy tanks. Now, not a lot of people realise that. Most people just cap out to win and say, oh, well, we'll just get rid of the... we'll ignore the last kill and we'll just cap out. But you do get a bonus. It's actually in the wiki. And the kill goes to ProvoBob as he splashes the strip 103B to death. And that's the first victory in this video. Let's have a look at the second video. The second replay for ProvoBob is on Mountain Pass. Okay, game started. Top speed for the M53, M55 was, well, the actual one I think was around about 30 kilometers an hour, but this one in the game actually can do 56.3. The front sprocket is actually the drive sprocket on this vehicle. Normally on American tanks, I think it was actually at the rear on American tanks. There's no idler wheel, you notice that on the rear. The vehicle actually squats on its haunches on that last road wheel, and that enables it to distribute the recoil better into the ground. There is a spade as well to help the recoil distribution. Well, that one's a little late, I think, but he might have got some splash out of it. There's a couple of tanks up on that plateau, including, I think, a Scorpion G. Yep, he suddenly spotted it. I saw that straight away. Always good target, that little rock there, because somebody always seems to go up there and peek through the bush, thinking they can get anyone who's actually coming into the bowl. Okay, he's lined him up. Rounds out. If he stays still... Oh, direct hit! Oh my god, look at that! 1,138 hit points. He did penetrate him. The shell must have gone straight through the gun shield. That's the weak spot on the Scorpion. Well, I suppose really everything on the Scorpion's a weak spot, because it is basically a panther hull, and a fairly weak one at that. So that's a good start. There's a large amount of hit points he's earned off that one. And he's got a bunch of enemy tanks all grouping together, and you know, when enemy tanks group together, you tend to get maximum damage. 320 off the IS-32. Now the M53, M55 was a Cold War design. They first designed it in 1950 and started putting them together during the middle to late 50s. So it never saw service in Korea, but it was, in fact, actually, it was in Vietnam, but it was actually withdrawn and in favour of the M109 and the M10, so 110. They actually took them out of service. Most of the US Marine M53s were converted into M55s. So they were given the 8-inch howitzer, they just took the 155mm gun out. In fact, actually, the 155mm gun had considerably less recoil than the 8-inch howitzer. Oh, and a nice kill on the Oho. And that meant that these vehicles actually lasted longer. The Marine ones were in much better condition because they suffered less stress every time they fired. The 8-inch really rocked the US Army M55s. It severely concussed them every time it fired a round. And they could only fire one round every 2 minutes. It took a long time to load the howitzer. In fact, they had to have a hoist to hoist up all of the shells, because they couldn't carry enough shells inside the vehicle itself to cater to all the shells it needed to fire when it was establishing as a battery. So they normally had a truck that would follow them around with all the shells and the charges, 2-part ammunition, and then they had a hoist which they'd use to lift the shells up, put them into the breech loading mechanism, and then shovel the shells in to the breech. It's a very big breech as well, the 8-inch. Rounds out. And a kill. That's his second. We're only one tank up on the enemy at the moment, but they've got the bridge road, which is a bit of a problem. There's a Bisonte on the bridge road. They've got the bowl, and there's a Brigitte and Barask in the bowl, but I think they're more concerned with what's going on the ice road. They could seize the cap if they wanted to. In fact, ProvoBob's saying, defend the base, because there's nobody other than him defending the cap at the moment. Now, the US government actually did sell the M53, M55 to other nations. It's not just in the American armed forces you'll find this, Arty. They sold them to Belgium, to Turkey, to Spain, to West Germany and to Taiwan. And I suspect the ones in Taiwan are in storage, because I wouldn't have thought the Taiwanese would actually waste anything. And they'd probably keep them in reserve, just in case they need to. You never know. Yes. They might need them to counter an invasion of some kind. Well, ProvoBob's come down to this position. From here, he can't really shoot easily up onto the ice road. You can see he's got a red line. When you see a red line, there's something obstructing the field of fire. And in this case, I think it's the cliff wall that he's nearby. Yeah, you're not going to get a shot into them. Oh, he's managed to get a green line at last. Did he move or just change his angle? He fires around into the IS-3 but doesn't get a hit. He just stuns him. He might need to change position. If he was moved just slightly further west, he might be able to get a shot directly up at these guys. But he appears to have a nice shot, as it is right now. I'd say he'd have a better shot if he was actually slightly further west. Okay, he's loaded. Rounds out, very narrow. He does get a hit. 314. Well, it seems to be going rather well because the enemy didn't avail themselves of the advantage they had, but they just probably didn't even realise they did have it, because now there's only 3 enemy vehicles left and they're facing 5 opponents. We just lost our Patriot. The enemy Bisante's retreated back to his own cap area. Oh, we got a blind kill there. He got the IS-3 too. He knew that guy was there, so he fired the round in. That means now there's only 2 enemies, the Bisante and the Jagdtiger. Now the Bisante's gone back to the bridge road. Udis is chasing down the cliff to get after him. Oh, changed his mind. Trying to get to a position, that Udis, so he can actually take advantage of the Bisante. Tortoise coming up one way. I actually get the feeling now the Udis is trying to get back across the bowl to help the Tortoise, but is he going to change his mind? No, he was actually getting into a position so he can attack the Jagdtiger. Okay, please spot the Jagdtiger, and ProvoBob will put a round onto it. There's the Bisante. Bit of splash, 141. The Jagdtiger comes into sight. Might have been a bit better for him to actually wait a second to actually get a clear shot at one of those guys, but we just lost the Tortoise. Okay, Bisante is going after the Udis, or is he? No, he's going after the cap. Okay, and ProvoBob's loaded. Line him up. He stops. Well, splash hit for 364. It all helps. We don't know what state the Bisante is regarding his loading. He probably already managed to reload his shots now. 3 shots, 105mm ammunition. I can't remember if it was 4 shots actually, but he's going to be coming up. Oh, we lost the Carnarvon. So it's 2 versus 2 now. They've managed to equalise the score. I thought it was a bit of a mistake to shoot after that Bisante as he was pulling back the first opportunity he had for a shot, because I could see that Jagdtiger coming around the corner. I thought he would be a really easy hit. And ProvoBob's now decided he's got to get closer. Besides, there is the risk that one of the enemy tanks might decide to actually head this direction to get the cap underway. And I can see that Jagdtiger turning around, going straight down the bridge road. In fact, I could also see the Bisante going down the ice road to come to the cap. 2 different tanks turning up in 2 different directions. Well, from round here, ProvoBob should be able to assist the Udes if the Bisante is chasing after him, but we'll have to see. Are they chasing him or not? Oh, he's going very deep in. This is taking a risk, but it might be a calculated risk that might pay off. You can actually see the driver's hatch on the M55 here. It's the one on the left on top of the turret. The commander's hatch is the one with the machine gun. The driver's up really high on the vehicle, sitting right next door to the howitzers. the gunner's on the other side of the vehicle. That's why that little round thing at the front, that's the manual aiming sight. If you were going to do a shotgun, you'd aim through that little ring. The gunner would actually look through the ring, and then there's a little, I think there's a little crosshairs inside that ring, and you just line that up on the target and then hit them with a howitzer round. Yeah, I somehow get the feeling that Jagdtiger's gone down the ice road. Yes, he did. The bridge road. He did. He's gone down the bridge road. But he's been caught. And the Unis is coming up behind him. Very low hit points on that Jagdtiger. He's a one-shot. And he has gone. Which now means there's only the Bisonte left. And I think ProvoBob's going in for the... he's going in for the shotgun. A lot of RT drivers are just staying near their cap. They don't move anywhere. But the good RT drivers are the ones who know what the P in SPG stands for. As Klaus often says, they propel themselves and then take advantage of the enemy, especially towards the end of the game, when their presence at the enemy cap can make a real big difference. Often's the time that I've actually, as an RT, driven to the enemy cap area whilst the enemy's occupied elsewhere and started capping to put the pressure on them, and it's enabled my teammates to then win the game. The Bisonte obviously did go down the ice road because he's not here. And despite the fact that we could get more XP by killing him, I think in this occasion it is worthwhile both players staying in the cap and capping out, because he does have enough hit points to make a difference. And of course he's got that 105mm gun, which is actually quite meaty. Does do quite a lot of damage. And they're going to cap out, and it's going to be another victory. So another victory for ProvoBob. In the last battle, ProvoBob is on the north spawn of Murovanka. Okay, we can finally see that he actually has a reload time of 32.3 seconds, and he has a kangaroo on the side of his vehicle. Well, he is an Aussie. There you go. Is that a kangaroo? Yes, it is a kangaroo. Yep. Oh dear. No, I think that was accidental, that one. I don't think he meant to get in the way of the T1 LPC. Okay, now, aiming where the tank destroyers are probably likely to be, but the first tank we see is a 110, a T54 lightweight and a P44 Pantera. Rounds out the T10, a 110 runner, only 70 hit points a splash. Well, that looks a meaty target, the Scorpion. Rounds out. Oh, direct hits! I'm not sure if it actually hit the Scorpion or what was next to the Scorpion, because it didn't appear to hit where the Scorpion was going to be. It was right next door to that spot. I have the feeling that hit something else that was next door to the Scorpion. He probably hit two tanks at once there. Rounds out, E75. Direct hit, 395. The Scorpion had minimal hit points left. You could see he was actually very badly damaged by that shot. He's still alive, but not with much. Just going to lob another round in there just in case he can splash the Scorpion to death. No, he did move. In fact, there's a bunch of enemy tanks in that position there, including that 110 that we hit earlier. There's the Scorpion again. He didn't last very long. 5120 went down to the 110. Okay, marking the 110's target. We're almost ready. Work out where he's going. It looks like he's getting close to that E75. Rounds out. Oh, big hit, and he got the E75. He hit the 110, but the E75 took the splash and he went out. The IS-22's gone out. That just leaves the 110 on that corner. Almost loaded. And the kill. He got the kill. A blind kill. There's some pretty fruity language in chat. I don't know if you've seen it. I'll make a note of those players. Obviously they don't like Arty. Well, maybe we ought to give them a little bit of special attention, you know. Arty style. Bit of HE. There is a P44 Pantera in there. Oh, he's very low on hit points. He didn't last very long. Well, ProvoBob's got a shell, but nobody to send it to yet. The enemy really hasn't made their presence known in the Magic Forest. Just that Pantera. And I think there was another tank a bit further away. An Object 257. Over on the west side of the battlefield, we've got a Progetto 46. But ProvoBob's sticking with the Magic Forest for the moment. Oh! No, decided the Progetto is worthwhile, but the moment he looks over there, he loses sight of it. It appears the Object 257's retreated right to the back of the map. With 5 tanks up on the enemy, it looks like they almost are in defensive mode now. Rounds out in the 257. Jagdtiger's putting up a fairly good defence actually at the moment, using the ridge lines to his advantage, and that big gun, the 128mm. But the TL1 LPC is going to take advantage of him now. Can't face 2 targets at once with a gun up front. Oh, nice hit! 502 on the engine deck again. He did stun his TL1, but that's an occupational hazard, I'm afraid, for some Arty players. Striv S1 in the bush. Oh, just died to the Rain 40 times. Something's in there because he's knocking trees down. And there's the M53, M55. The enemy Arty. There's 3 enemy Arties. GW Tiger P and an SU-14 too. Rounds out from the 257, so... Oh! Oh, he got 2! He got a Bombardier! He got the 257 and the GW Tiger P was right next door to him when he expired. The shell detonated, it appeared, between the two and got both of them. So a nice little Bombardier bonus for ProvoBob. And there's only 2 remaining. We know one of them is over in this corner. It's the Foch. Right underneath the crosshairs at the moment, I believe. There he is. Line him up. rounds out. Let's see if we can get this last kill. Well, it's a hit, but not a kill. But the Su-14-2 goes down, and that makes the Foch the last player on the enemy team. Striv S1 going in for the kill. He doesn't get it. Who's going to take the last kill? No, after you. After you. No, no, you take it. No, after you. After you. No. Make up your mind, gentlemen. As the Foch is down. And that is the end of the video. Let's have a look at the end of battle results for all three battles. Here's the end of battle results for the first game on Live Oaks, and that was an ace tanker game for ProvoBob in the M53, M55. You got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, you got 19, a Gauze medal for doing more damage exceeding 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle, and he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. His win rate from that battle was 7,292, which is high CPU income, so very well done. Let's have a look at team score. He didn't get the highest damage in the game. There was a Heshbarn on the enemy team. Got a high caliber for 5,879 hit points, beating ProvoBob by 240 hit points. ProvoBob got 5,617. The next high scorer being the Jagdpanzer E100 on his team with 4,218. The Conqueror managed to get a Spartan and 3,721. When it came to kills, it was no, it wasn't ProvoBob, it was the E4, got 4 kills to him. 2 kills to ProvoBob, the Conqueror, the Heshbarn, and the Strip 103B in the middle of the swamp. When it came to base XP, he's got the top on that one as well, so top on 2 columns. 1,363 base experience points, which is enough for the ace, 1,130 went to the Conqueror, and 872 went to the Object 2684. He fired 13 rounds, got 7 direct hits and 1 penetration on the enemy. I think we know which one that was because we saw the premium fire extinguisher go off on, I think it was the IS-32, didn't it, when it impacted, and yes, it set his fire extinguisher off as well. 15 splash, damage of 5,617 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 10 of the enemy, killed 2, did 2,557 hit points of stun assist or 14 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 78,716 credits, and after personal reserve and holy ops, because they were in there as well, 150,347 credits was the total. After resupply of ammunition and consumables, he still took away a profit of 106,037 credits altogether. 2,044 XP times 2 for the first victory, same again from personal reserves, took away 6,133 experience points altogether. So a very good battle there for ProvoBob in the first game. Let's have a look at the second game and we'll see how he managed to get on that one. Well, the second game you saw was on Mountain Pass, and that was the one where he actually had to go and cap to finish the game because that Bisonte managed to get away from them. He got a second class tanker in that one. He got a Bruiser medal again, this time 13 critical hits. He got another Gauze medal for doing damage exceeding 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle. And this time round he got the high caliber. He did do the most damage in the game. His win rate was slightly lower, but still very high, 6,099. He managed to do 4,197 hit points in this one. The next high scorer being the Jagdtiger on his own team with 3,094 and the Udes with 3,019. When it came to kills, it was shared between ProvoBob, the Udes 03 and the Bisonte on the enemy team. All got 3 kills each. And when it came to base XP, it was actually the 703-2 on his team did the best, 1,069. Then it was the Udes with 1,025 and then finally ProvoBob with 945. He fired 13 rounds in this game, lot less, 5 direct hits, 1 penetration, 14 splash, damage of 4,197 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters, damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 3, did 21 hit points of stun assist of 12 stuns. That's probably the reason why he didn't get the ace, because he did very little stun assist in this game. 59 capture points in the cap. He earned 46,328 credits from the game, got 18,994 from completing the mission, that's holiday ops, 65,322 altogether, and after ammunition, resupply and consumables, still took away a profit of 21,012 credits. In fact, he would have made a profit even if he was free to play. 1,417 XP times 2 for the first victory took away 2,835 experience points altogether. I think really this battle was highlighted by that first shot on the Scorpion, where he did 1,138 hit points of damage with one penetrating shot right at the start. And that poor guy went up there thinking, oh, I'm sure I'll snipe somebody from up here, and then wham, all his hit points had just disappeared just like that, out of the blue. Well, yes, he did get himself spotted, so it's his own fault. Let's have a look at the third battle. That was the one on Murovanka, and this one was also a second-class tanker. He managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He got 4 exactly. He got a bombardier. He took out 2 tanks with 1 shot. You saw the Object 257 and the GW Tiger P both die in the same shot. That one will appear in the bombardier's videos I'm doing at the moment. And he also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in this one. He managed to get 11. His win rate was slightly lower, 4,537, but that doesn't decry the effort he put in, because he did get the highest damage on his team. In fact, it was the highest damage overall on the game, but it didn't get a high caliber, I'm afraid, because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. 3,416 hit points went to ProvoBob, the next high scorer being the Foch with 2,853, followed by the Lorraine 40 ton, who got 2,621. When it came to kills, he got the highest number of those with 4, the next highest being the School Bus, who managed to get 3 kills, 2 kills to the Striv S1, and the ELC Evan 90, who also picked up a patrol duty. And when it came to base XP, yes, he's got the top in that one. So he's got the top in all 3 columns in this game. 948 base, which is nowhere near what you need for an ace, I'm afraid. 872 for the ELC and 848 for the Lorraine 40 ton. He fired 10 rounds in this game, very few compared to the previous game. 6 direct hits, no penetrations and 12 splash. Damage of 3,416 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 4, did 1,035 hit points of stun assist off 7 stuns. So he did get some stun assist in this one, but because the game didn't last very long and his teammates were very eager to win the battle very, very quickly, he didn't end up as much splash damage or as much actual damage as he would like. 47,256 credits from the game, 23,628 from personal reserves and 19,375 from holiday ops, a total of 90,259 credits, and after ammunition and consumables he took away a profit of 51,559 credits. 1,422 XP, 5,688 from holiday ops, 711 from personal reserves, and took away 7,821 experience points altogether. So a very profitable series of 3 battles took place over the Christmas period. I'm sure that you appreciate that ProvoBob has been playing hard, and he's actually enjoying himself with the M53, M55, but he has sent me some other battles in other tanks. He doesn't just play this one, he does play other vehicles, and so you will be seeing some videos from him in the near future in other vehicles. Hope you enjoyed these replays. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, make sure that other people get to see the video, and thank you for watching.